We got Alejandro Moreno, Hercules Gomez,
and his shirt.
Salazar.
By the way, no tie. Did you hear this? He doesn't wear a tie.
We also have Paolo Bandini. He's here as well.
I don't wear a tie. He lets us influence his wardrobe.
You cannot talk about wardrobe today.
Yeah,
honestly.
Time out.
No, it's no
fact,
time out.
Why don't we begin extra time with, surprise, a question about Herc's choice in wardrobe? This from our good friend Tim Fontenot.
Did you say friend?
Yeah, well, it's interesting.
Acquaintance.
Thank you, Ali.
I guess Tim took a break from tweeting about political stuff, and here it is. Question on Herc's shirt.
Well,
Why?
what do you mean why? Listen, I'm not going to take fashion advice from Tim of all people, who only wears purple.
He does love Orlando City.
That's all he wears. And you two aren't your like fashionistas either, so I should
No.
I really shouldn't be taking like any heat here.
Hey, honestly,
It's
you can
Sunday.
take any
It's
other
Sunday.
day. You can take a shot at me if you want to. But when you're wearing that and you don't have a pina colada in hand and sandals on, then
It's 5 o'clock.
it is 5 o'clock somewhere.
Thank you.
5:32 right here.
Hey, that was
It
kind of
is
beautiful.
You
There.
like that, huh?
He's got a very angelic voice.
Whoa!
That's the only angelic thing.
All of a sudden, I was thinking about his shirt. You started singing. I said, "Okay, that's it."
We're only at the beginning.
But good or bad, I don't know how you feel about this.
Your shirt bad.
no.
Your shirt bad.
Come on, Ali. Come on.
I do have to say, you asked me today earlier if you should wear that shirt, and I didn't stop you from doing it.
he was
So
warm, by
I
the
take
way.
some responsibility. Paolo, what do you think of Herc's shirt? Oh, you can't see it.
I can't see it.
Yeah,
I'm in the
yeah,
dark
yeah,
here.
yeah,
I'm going to go
lucky,
screen
brother.
showing myself.
That's all right. Hey,
I'm
that's
going to say it's great. I'm going to say it's a great
That's
shirt.
my guy right there.
Hey, that's all right, Paolo.
We
That's
really
all right.
We really need.
Let's just say, Paolo, that if Hercules had your hair, it would be perfect right now.
I don't disagree.
See, we would need that hair on that shirt.
Can we
It's perfect.
superimpose the hair on the shirt right now?
I feel like there's a
Okay.
Photoshop happening somewhere
So, yes.
in the back.
Tim's up behind it.
Hey, but hey, let's give Paolo some credit. Today, you know, he got it all wet. It's a little clean.
It's
you know?
maintained.
Hey, look at that.
Are we?
Yeah.
And why with the low button too? Are you showing your chest hair too?
I have no chest hair. That is my one regret in life.
That's it.
That's it.
You spent a month in Russia with me, and that's your one regret, man.
You're right. I immediately take it back. I immediately. You don't ever want to spend time away from home with Sebi.
I don't want to.
I don't think you need to qualify that.
Time with Seth.
I don't think you needed to qualify that at all.
We have full disclosure.
You guys have a love-hate.
The reason I cannot spend time with Seth is because he has been proven medically that
This has not
Seth
been
is
proven.
bad for my health. Every time
That
I
was
see
once.
Seth for an extended period of
That was
time,
once.
I get sick to no end. So it's better for me to stay away.
Okay, one of the big things we talked about on today's show were Jose Mourinho's comments. Mafayo wants to know, why should Jose get any more signings with that kind of football? He adds garbage. What do you think, Herc?
You're right. I mean, listen.
Would you want to play
It's
in that
effective.
system?
I don't know if I'd want to play in that system as a forward. You're not going to see a whole lot of chances. And the way he treats his players, I don't know if I want to be part of that environment, but you're absolutely right. He spent an enormous amount of money for that brand of football. I think you're spot on. Ale?
Are you looking at this thing?
You still on the shirt?
I mean, I feel like you have to commit to the double button down if you're going to go with that shirt, right?
Double
like,
button
Yeah, like if you're going to go with that shirt on television, you can't wear it like a normal shirt. You got a couple buttons down.
Yeah,
Fully commit to
you know,
the bit.
yeah, like let us in.
Yeah.
Let us in.
Should I go one more? Should I go one more?
Hey, Paolo, what do you think? Do you think that the style of football that Manchester United plays is maybe a turnoff to guys who want to go there or might not want to go there now?
Well, I don't want to be the guy who keeps us off topic here, but one of my top sources has just sent me a picture of the shirt, so I can now have an opinion.
Oh, go ahead.
It's good. I'd like to. Are those flamingos on it? I only got a little glance there. What's the pink?
No.
Is that a flamingo? Is that an animal?
These are plants. They're Hawaiian plants.
Hawaiian plants.
Flowers. And
Oh,
there's a little
you go
surfer in
botanist
there.
now.
There is a surf. You know what? There may be a flamingo in here, Paulo. I'm not going to lie to you. I do not know.
That's for extra time.
Listen, if you've ever, I don't need to be taking fashion advice from anybody on. No, come on, come on. It's Sunday. Ollie, have a heart.
Ben wants to know, do you think this Manchester City side is good enough to beat the likes of Barcelona, Juventus, or Real Madrid for the Champions League title? Paolo, I'll go straight back out to you.
Yeah, look, Manchester City were already playing some of the best football in Europe last year. They were beaten in the Champions League by a Liverpool team that went to the final, that was playing its best football of the season, that really got them on a great night at the Kop where they managed to just completely blow them away. And even then, by the way, I think that the tie was still probably a little bit closer than it finally looked in the scoreline. The return game in Manchester was a tight game that with different breaks could have gone differently. So, look, of course Manchester City are ready to compete for the Champions League. Doesn't mean they're necessarily going to win it, because there's a bunch of teams that are ready to compete for the Champions League, and in the end, it's a cup competition that comes down to how you perform on one or two nights of the year that are the most important nights. But Manchester City are more than ready for a run of that, for sure.
Paulo, our next question comes from Nick. He says, with Higuain at AC Milan, can he really help them contend for a top 4 spot or even possibly win the Europa League? What do you think? Is AC Milan going to be back in Champions League next season?
They contended for a top 4 spot last season, so sure. I mean, why not? He's a player who, even though he maybe isn't quite at the level he was at when he was at Napoli and scoring a Serie A record number of goals, he's a prolific player. He's going to score goals there, and he scores goals, by the way, for all the big game bottler jibes that he gets for his performances in Europe and for his performances perhaps for the Argentinian national team. He's scored in big games in Italy as well. He's scored in the most important games for Juventus and Napoli. So he's a great asset. They were already close to competing for the top 4. I think they will be again. I think the Europa League is possible, but you never know who's going to drop into that competition out of the Champions League. Like last season, Arsenal thought they had a great run at it until they ran into an Atletico Madrid team who, frankly, are a Champions League team and should be playing in a higher level of competition. So, yes, he's improved them a lot. He's given them a shot at those things. I don't think they're ready to compete for the Serie A title, for instance. I think they're still a way off that.
Do you guys care? Would you like to see Milan back in? Are you like sentimental at all that some big
the burning question for me is whether Paulo has a man bun on or not, to be honest.
Man. What does he have back there?
Is it a man bun behind there or not?
That's the burning.
It's the half knot. It's the top knot. The half knot.
I don't actually think I know what like
Let me get a look
definition of
at
these
it.
things are. It's tied back. Like I don't know. Like you can have a look at the tie on there.
Is that a man bun or is
I
that
don't
the top
know,
knot?
but
That's
I
half
like
knot.
it.
No.
I knew it.
That's a what?
I knew
Top
it.
knot.
How do you tell the two?
Just hair things.
What?
Just know this.
I knew it.
I knew it. What does that mean?
I knew it. Well, there was something there holding everything back.
You knew the man bun.
That's very cool.
I knew it.
Listen, I do.
It was looking really big today. It was looking really big. I had to do something.
I appreciate
lighting
the
there
effort.
in the
I appreciate
studio.
the effort. You thought you were going to get away with it.
What do you think?
Never,
He's trying to hide it.
never on
He's
this show
trying to
do I
hide
get away
it.
with
like
anything.
it.
Nothing
Don't
on this
listen
show.
to these guys. Don't
You
listen to
saw
these
the
guys.
shading in the bridge. Is that how you figured out those?
I knew it. Controversy. You got any more questions? Or can we go
There's
home?
like 6 more questions.
All
here,
right,
actually.
let's go.
Can I ask producer Pete? Is this for me? This next question is that Nakai. What are your thoughts on interviewing players during the game, like we saw in the MLS All-Star
Why
game?
would that be for you?
What do you guys think?
I want to know why that was for you.
Because he was interviewing players during the game.
Because I don't think you guys do. You guys interview? Yes, That's
Well, I think that it may be more the question about Ragusan, who was actually on the field.
Oh, yeah.
And
did you like it?
See how you made it about yourself.
You made it about
it wasn't
himself.
really about yourself.
I knew it wasn't about him. Are you Googling yourself right now?
I'm going to show you guys and show you exactly what it was. No, you guys keep talking, but I'm going to show you that it was.
He's upset. Why did you do that? You got him upset.
It may just be, well, look, you allow it because it's the All-Star game.
Yes.
And so then that's when you have to sort of manipulate what the meaning of this game is, if there's any meaning to it at all. When you have people that take this very seriously and forget about the fact that at the very root of it is an exhibition. And I think right now MLS is sort of in a gray area that they want to make it meaningful, but not that meaningful, and kind of sort of a showcase. Somewhere in between is where the MLS All-Star game falls.
Well, I enjoyed it. I thought it was new. I thought it was something that was fresh and entertaining. It didn't help that right after they cut from him, they scored a goal on Brad Guzan. So whoever these naysayers are, they're going to say, see, he's not concentrated, this is what's going to happen. But like you said, it's an exhibition, it's a celebration. You shouldn't take it too seriously.
From Nakai, the same Nakai. P.S. Are you presenting ESPNfc again tonight? If so, watch out for my questions.
There you go. Because you'd be the guy asking the questions.
There you go.
Okay.
The proof is in the pudding.
All right, good. You and Nakai good friends?
I rest my case.
Yeah.
I rest my case. The defense rests.
What is your case?
It's always about you, Seba.
What is your case?
I don't know. The case is that it's over. Extra time has come to a merciful end. Don't ever miss a show. We'll be back Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
What about her
and on
shirt?
into
Is it back?
infinity.
It'll make a comeback. I have different colors.
Oh, great.
What Mauricio Sarri had to say about Eden Hazard and Thibaut Courtois. I've already talked to Courtois and Hazard 2 days ago. You see, he giggled there. I think there is more good news than bad news. I am not interested in what Courtois' agent said. I want to hear if Courtois says the same to me. All right, so Paolo, the transfer window closes 5 p.m. Thursday UK time. How is this going to play out for Eden Hazard and Thibaut Courtois at Chelsea?
Well, this is why it's such a nightmare, the situation the Premier League clubs have created for themselves, because sure, the Premier League transfer window closes on Thursday and teams can't sign new players in the Premier League, but actually Courtois could still theoretically at least be bought by Real Madrid or Barcelona right through to the rest of Europe's transfer window in the end of August. So they could find themselves in a position where they haven't lined up a replacement for him, but the player and his agent and all of that noise could be really building up on them and pressuring a sale. So it's a horrible situation for Chelsea to be in. It's a horrible situation for Sarri to be in with guys who he doesn't even, he hasn't even had the chance to sit down with yet, hasn't even the chance to talk to him, and that's exactly what he said. Like, look, if Courtois really wants to go, then we can talk about it, but I need to talk to him first, and he needs to hear it from the player. And maybe if he hears it from the player, then Chelsea are going to have to really get into gear to sign a replacement, because of course you can't let Courtois go without a replacement. But what worries me from Chelsea's point of view is exactly what I just said. Maybe they don't find a replacement, so they say, okay, Thibaut, you're staying here, we're going to have you this season. But what if the player then really digs his heels in and downs tools and causes problems for them from there until the end of August? The pressure to sell could get really intense. So it's a really difficult situation for the club right now, I think.
Stevie Nicol is joining me as we look back on the spectacle that was the Community Shield. Manchester City are the ones who get to lift it. Stevie, what did you think of the game? Of course, City were all over Chelsea, so expected win?
Yes, I think we saw why City are Premier League champions. They've stepped on the field and did exactly what they did all last season. Created chances. Had they taken all the chances, this could have been 6 or 7. Of all people, Willie Caballero made some good saves.
Yeah.
So for Manchester City, this was fantastic. This is what we expect from them. Mahrez starting, looked as though he'd been there forever. So it was same old City.
But now we have to talk about Chelsea, because we've been speaking about it as well a lot with Craig, because whether he likes it or not, he's our little Chelsea guru, or we like to call him that. He said that this game would be a snapshot for Sarri of what he's got in this Chelsea squad and what he needs to get, but he's already at a disadvantage having come in late, and then now less than a week left in the transfer window where he can bring players in. So what's he thinking now, do you think?
I'll tell you what he's got. Problems.
We knew that from before.
This wasn't far off their full side. Obviously Hazard wasn't playing at all. Willian came on late, but the majority of what was on the field is what he has, and they were just poor. The goals, both of them, right down the middle of the park. They signed Jorginho, and there was a huge hole there for at least the 2 goals and some of the other chances. And the back line wasn't in sync. They dropped off Aguero on the edge of the box for the first goal. So if I'm Sarri, I'm actually wondering, how do I start this season? Clearly he wants to play an open attacking game, but when you don't have the parts, you're asking for trouble. But
and how much time left?
But then does he play any other way? Can he actually turn around and say, we need to keep this tight to begin with until we get into a rhythm or we figure out what we're doing? I'm not so sure he will. I think he'll go and try and play the way he wants to play, and that could spell trouble.
All right. Well, as you were for Manchester City in terms of top performances and a whole lot of problems for Mauricio Sarri and Chelsea, we'll see if he has time or he manages to sort them by the time the Premier League starts next week.
Look, one of the big stars of the summer at the World Cup, Paul Pogba. Everybody wants to know, can he do for Manchester United what he did for France? What's it going to take to see him reach that level, Ale?
Freedom. And I also believe he's going to take an ability for him to say, all right, this is what I do for France. This is what makes me successful. I need to translate this into success with Manchester United over the course of a long season, not over the course of a short tournament, 7 games with France, where there is an emotional component of representing your country. It's a little bit of personal responsibility on his part, and I think it's also a little bit of understanding of what Jose Mourinho wants from him. In the end, when I say freedom, all I mean is that he has to have the ability, by design, in the way that he's set up on the field, to be able to attack, join, impact the game in the final third, but also give you enough work defensively. He did that for France. He hasn't done it all the time for Manchester United.
Well, why can he do that for France? Because you have an N'Golo Kante behind you, protecting you, because you have an Mbappe stretching the field. So it allows him to have that freedom that you speak about in the field, on the field. That's not the way Mourinho plays. That's not the system he deploys. He is really handcuffed. He is restricted. This is what you get at him. So when you go publicly and you criticize Pogba, when Jose Mourinho does this, you're saying, I don't like the way you play for me. But Jose Mourinho doesn't realize the way he plays for you is because of you. It's because of the limits you put on Paul Pogba. Listen, he's a great goal scorer, 44 goals in the last 2 seasons, and one of those was a half season with 18 games, so it's a small sample size. But when you look at the players who are there in front of him, Bradley Wright Phillips, Chris Wondolowski, and I'm even going to throw in Robbie Keane, I'm sorry. Yeah. Robbie Keane. The difference is the championships. When you talk about Robbie Keane, what he gave the LA Galaxy, those championships, that's going to separate him, because right now, Justin Martinez in about a year and a half, about as good, if not better, than anyone in MLS MLS history.
How can you ask a championship of a guy who joined an expansion team we're a year and a half in? That's too much to say on his resume.
Is it too much?
The goals are the goals.
Is it too much?
He's going to blow away the record. He's going to blow away the record.
So a year and a half, that sample size is the best. Right now, that gives you enough to say he's the best ever.
Yeah, and I would. Yeah. Well, I mean, what are we talking about? MLS present day is the best it's ever been, and he's ripping it up.
That's the sample size you have to measure how good he is. So you're going to say in a year and a half, you've already demonstrated you are the best ever.
Okay. Just simple question. Of all the strikers that we have seen in this league, and that moment in their career, not at their prime, because Thierry Henry wasn't here in his prime.
Correct.
So let's just evaluate and compare what we saw from them in MLS, and at that moment in their careers, Jose Martinez is entering his prime right now in MLS, and he's showing it.
Yeah, he may not even be entering for a few years.
And look, if he stays healthy, this goal record is not only going to be broken, it's going to wave goodbye and see you guys later and come try to chase me.
Absolutely.
Good luck with that.
My CEO knows what I want for quite a long time. The other clubs who compete with us are really strong and have fantastic squads like Chelsea, Tottenham, or Manchester City. Or they are investing massively like Liverpool that are buying everything and everybody. And if we don't make our team better, it will be a difficult season for us. Guys, color me shocked. Jose Mourinho is crying poor. Ale, what do we make of it?
Yeah, I mean, well, you cannot defend it because we're looking at a club and a manager who has purchased players in the past when he needed those players and when the club needed those players. Now, maybe he's not getting what he wants. And if he's not getting what he wants, then he's going to complain about it. And to some degree, I understand that. The part that, to me, seems silly is that this is not only a shot to whoever on the board for Manchester United, and mentioning the CEO, but this is also a shot at Liverpool, saying that they're buying everything that moves.
He seems obsessed with Liverpool.
And maybe that's their threat. I don't know, but he's sending a shot out there. And I can guarantee you that Jose Mourinho doesn't sit there without a plan in place. He doesn't come into a press conference without knowing that he wants to control the message and how that message is going to come out. He's a guy that has been around for many years and is the best at handling situations where he wants a message to get across through the media. Well, he's getting that message across. However, the message gets diluted because it's happening every time he talks to the media. And at some point, you just essentially turn it off.
Am I going crazy? Did he not spend
because of that shirt, yes.
over 200? I mean,
what's the pina colada, dude?
On 2 players, and then one of those players that he spent on that he asked for, he says, I don't like the way he plays. I hope he plays like he does in France.
Right.
So he takes shots at Liverpool. He takes shots also at his own team. What you're telling your players is, what I have right now in my locker room isn't good enough. I can't compete with these players. I can't do that. So to me, he's not only taking shots at Liverpool, at Chelsea, at the ones who spend, he's taking shots at his own players.
Let's go to Paolo on this. Paolo, he says, my CEO knows what I want for quite a long time. The supposed #1 transfer target here is Harry Maguire. Is that what Mourinho's talking about, or is there more to this than that?
Definitely a centre-back. Actually, just sort of hearing in the last little bit from Germany reports that United have opened negotiations about Jerome Boateng, the Bayern Munich centre-back as well. So there's no question that that's a position that is a top priority for Manchester United right now. I think when he raises Liverpool in a press conference like this, it's just it's a little bit having a go at Liverpool, and it's a little bit beginning to sow the seeds of the I don't know, I guess the terms of the war of words he's expecting to have with Klopp, the way he plans to needle him. But it's also another way, yet again, of needling Ed Woodward and saying, hey, you know, these are our rivals, and look how much they're spending, and you've not given me anything, which isn't even true, by the way, but you haven't given me what I want. Centre-back is without question the biggest priority. Maguire is very clearly and openly a player they're pursuing, but I think at this point, with the deadline being as tight as it is, Manchester United have to, and it appears they are, at least broadening out their